Welcome one and all, I'm Decoy, back with another cool and unique camp location video. I know it has been a really long time since I've done one of these, but in my defense, I have shown a ton of cool camp locations, and there's not really a whole lot of them left for me to show. I will admit though, that with the Brotherhood one that we're featuring today, I could have shown these back when the Brotherhood first arrived, but I was kind of holding off on the hopes that with this new round of Brotherhood content that we get some new locations and I could pick and choose the best. But that didn't happen. So this is every Brotherhood campable spot I could find that features NPCs. First one, pretty darn noticeable as it is right down the road from the Wayward, so immediately you are probably going to be running into issues with being camp blocked. So keep that in mind. I did test every one of these spots by putting down a camp, server hopping a few times just to make sure. This spot, I have thrown down my camp as a baby character. Fun little fact, if you pick a fight with the guys who are looking for Crane, the Brotherhood will just stand there and watch you get the crap beat out of you. I guess that's what they're into. Next spot, we're up in Savage Divide, checking out a Vertibird crash site. Now, there are a few Vertibird crash sites scattered throughout the wasteland that have Brotherhood hanging out at them. I realize these will probably not be as popular of locations as, say, a checkpoint, but maybe you can use that to your advantage. Maybe theme a camp around it. Whatever you want to do, I'm just trying to give you a little bit more options. So this spot, pretty darn cool. I did run into something kind of weird while camping at one of these Brotherhood spots. I hopped into the world, and the Brotherhood person had no clothes on. And just standing there in tidy whities. I was like, this is kind of weird, man. I'm going to need you to put some pants on or something. Alright? Kind of freaking me out. So, just be warned. You go camping around these Brotherhood people, sometimes they like to strip down a little bit. I mean, luckily, after about a minute, their clothes magically spawned onto them. Or, you know, maybe it wasn't magic. Maybe they were taking my advice of putting some pants on. Now this spot, way up at the top of Savage Divide, I would wager it's going to be on the lower end of the popularity scale. So if you're looking for a spot where you're not going to get camp blocked, that one may have been a good choice. This spot, we got another roadblock. So one kind of cool thing about this spot is, aside from having the two Brotherhood people chilling here, you also get a turret that's hanging out here. So, pretty darn cool. One thing that may or may not be a good thing, depending on how you want to build, is the terrain here. It has a little bit of a stair-step effect, and it is sloped. Now, it is stair-step because the road here is doing a little S-curve back and forth. So, if you want to try to have a tiered build, this may be a fairly decent spot to try that. Overall, it's a decent spot, and you do get a checkpoint, free turret, some Brotherhood people hanging out. Hopefully they keep their clothes on. I mean, but you can't really judge, right? But this will put you right near Atlas. So if that's something you want to do, it's a fairly solid spot. Now, of the two roadblocks near Atlas, I'm going to wager that that one is the less popular of the two. Now, I do have someone on my friends list that likes to camp at this spot right here. And as you can see, it is much more friendly to build at. You don't have all the stair stepping. It's a little bit more on the level side. And of course, here you got the Brotherhood people hanging out, and you get a turret here as well. Along with whatever other little stuff spawns here. You got some ammo, some water, as if you really need that. But, you know, I just had this random thought. I was looking at the Brotherhood crates going, so when are those going to be camp items, you know? some Brotherhood crates to decorate your camp with. Anyways, don't want to get too sidetracked. So, Brotherhood people here, pretty darn nice build area, but I will say you may end up getting camp blocked from time to time. Now, if you're wanting to camp here, this is just a little bit south of Atlas, so you are a little bit further away, but you are still in hardcore Brotherhood territory. So, for all you Brotherhood builders out there, that may be a serious consideration right there. Now we're going to continue our trek through the Savage Divide, because most of these locations are Savage Divide. And we're back at a Vertibird crash site. Now the first thing I do want to note about this spot is there is a big old crater right beside here where enemies spawn in. I threw my camp here, and almost every time I spawned in, the Brotherhood were fighting the critters that were spawning down inside the crater. In fact, the time I went to record this, I had spawned in, and one of my Brotherhood people got murdered. I was like, well, guess I'm going to have to server hop again. But out of the few times I server hopped here, I did run in to ants a few times, which was really cool. I also ran into ghouls, but the ants is way cooler. You can make some rat ant logger or something like that if you want to. This spot does have a slight advantage over other spots in the sense that it has a resource extractor location. So if you want to set up and have a source of concrete, there you go. You just have to deal with the enemies. So I think that's how it offsets it a little bit. Yeah, you got enemies you got to deal with, but you can throw down an extractor and get some concrete. And this spot is way more friendly on map placement. You're going to be somewhat near foundation. You're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from several decent locations. So overall, map-wise, that's honestly one of my top picks for where it's located on the map. And the fact that you get your Brotherhood and you also have a resource spot is pretty darn nice. Now we're heading a little bit further down in Savage Divide to another crash site. Here you do get this tent with a couple dead people hanging out. I mean, they're just enjoying the day, you know, relaxing, taking a little nap, alright? Don't judge them, alright? It's nap time. I know they look like they're dead, but they're just sleeping. Just give them time to sleep it off. That was super creepy. Alright, you go turning around, there's a Brotherhood guy standing right in your face. That guy's weird, alright? So if you camp here, just know one of these guys is kind of weird, and they would just walk up behind you and breathe down your neck and not say a word. They're weird. Now, I kind of like this Vertibird. I mean, you can go down inside of it. You may be able to work around and fiddle with the inside of this just a little bit. But honestly, my favorite part of this Vertibird, well, aside from me getting stuck in it, is the skeleton right here that's going through the windshield. I don't know why, I just think that's freaking cool looking. Alright, so we've had several fairly decent choices all throughout Savage Divide. This spot is going to put you pretty darn low on the map. So I'm not really sure how much competition you're going to have with this particular location. But our next spot, I don't think there's going to be much competition at all for it, because we're about to head over to Cranberry Bog. And this is another location that you should be pretty darn familiar with if you've been going to queen fights, because the queen gets easily distracted by the Brotherhood people over here, and she shows up to fight them. So if you go building here, pretty good odds the queen and all her little minions are going to come visit your camp for tea time or something. I don't know. But I do know that when they show up to the party, they really like to trash the place. So maybe if you're going a really hardcore Brotherhood theme camp and you want to roleplay it and you want to show up here to help out your poor little Brotherhood people that got sent to Cranberry on a suicide mission, okay, maybe, but I don't think this spot is for most people. Also, side note, why would you send someone down here near the Queen with a pipe rifle? That, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think Shen likes that person very much, because if you go to Cranberry at a Queen fight with a pipe pistol or a pipe rifle, odds are you're not going to survive as an NPC. Of course, you could be decked out and all sorts of crazy stuff. You're not going to survive as an NPC. But that right there, that's pretty much going to cover all the Brotherhood spots that have NPCs at them that you can camp at. Hopefully, there's one or two in there that you would like to use. I hope you've enjoyed this. As usual, well, real quick, side note, I don't know when we'll have another one of these, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to like, sub, and share. Later.